So, Mr. Nabong, how do you define failure?
Good question. It could be, well, a lot of it largely goes into what the goal is, right? So, if you have a goal, I don't know if failure is always the word. Sometimes it could be an experience or learning experience. Yeah, that may not be what you want to hear, but that's kind of, to me, it's.
I'm not looking for any specific word. I most of the time believe that the word failure is a buzzword and overrated, that most people actually haven't quote unquote failed. And so you just used it a couple of times here. You also used the word success. So that's going to be the next word that I'm going to ask you to define. But
Yeah, failure would probably be, to me, more of an experience, a learning experience, right? Because did I fail at opening a cafe? Yeah, monetarily speaking, I failed. But, I tell everyone, yeah, I lost 80 grand, 60 grand in that whole deal. But when it was all said and done, I met someone who helped me run a successful business or start a successful business, who then ran off and started her own business. That's a success to me. And it's an experience. And you live and you learn. And to me, I think, now if I did the same thing over and over again in multiple businesses, sure, we could call that a failure. But in the sense of, hey, I learned from this and I was able to walk into this next business venture and do things differently, it's an experience.
But that was an investment to meet that person who helped you make you significantly more than that money that was lost at that point. So then it's like you said, you're investing in things, hoping that next thing happens out of it.
I could have easily put an ad on Craigslist and she could have applied to open escape in Virginia Beach with me, and I could have,
you would have saved $59,975.
Right. So
way to go. You definitely failed then.
I learned from it. I don't look back at that experience and go, man, that's, once in a while, if I pull up the tax return, I go, oh, shoot, I could have lived life without that. But at the same time, it's okay. It's an experience. It's something I can speak of. It's, when I'm talking to other business owners, and hopefully the audience that's listening to this today can know that, just because you fail or you have an experience that isn't ideal doesn't necessarily mean that you can't get back up and do it again.
That's right. And you're young enough, and other folks are young enough, when you take a risk that young to make up for those losses. You've probably already made up for those losses. And I totally agree with what you're saying. It's fascinating as I listen to you talk about this. It's just, what is failure? I can take every failure that I think about and turn it around to a positive experience. I tried to qualify for Boston 5 times and it didn't happen, but I learned something along the way. Every marathon that I ran, every training run, I learned something. Going for the green in 2, and you have to carry some water. You learn that maybe you need to lay up and do it in 3. So with everything, it's a lesson learned.
I think when most people say, hey, I failed at this, I also think that they also kind of take a step back inherently and go, but here's what I learned. And if you take it from that perspective and saying, to your point, Tim, go for the green in 2, and maybe I should do it differently next time. I look at it as an experience. Now, if I keep going for the green in 2 and I keep hitting the water or making a bogey, well, I guess that's what they call insanity.
I don't know. Are those golf? Is this golf term? What are you guys talking about? Going for the green in 2.
Well, for the par 5, you go for the green in 2 to hopefully get a lower score. And if you don't hit the green, so you screw up and you get a higher score, you waste stuff. I imagine maybe 5 people listening right now would understand what this is.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. So